Okay, here's a quick video on WSL2 in Row64. So after we've gone through and done the install instructions here, we can go and start up in our search menu, search for Ubuntu, and then load that up. And this is basically starting up a virtual machine of the Row64 server. So I have that up here, and it's pretty cool. It's perfectly integrated into Windows, and I can go here and see if my service is running. I can say sudo systemctl status Row64 server, and we can see, okay, the service is running. And so just basically whenever you have the Ubuntu window open, the server's running. And so then I can go and grab one of these files, and here, for example, so you can see it's just very fast. It's running a hypervisor. The speeds are extremely fast. Now I want to note, when you open it up, the Linux and Windows are sort of fighting for memory or competing for memory. And so the first time you run it, it will be a little bit slower as it pulls into RAM. But other than that, it's amazing. And I was going to show you a few tricks here. So what's neat is if we go to see var ww, so here we've got our dashboard and our ramdb folders. We can use Windows Explorer.exe, and now if I type it with just Explorer.exe, it's going to open it up at the C root. But if I go and type a dot at the end, dot means current location, and so that'll open up inside. I've got my Linux path here inside Windows, and then I can go look and see in my ramdb folder here what example files I have. So personally, I always use FileZilla for dragging stuff around for moving files around between servers and my Windows machine. But here, you can just drag it right in here. So I could work with the ramdb folders, or we can see our list of dashboards here. And it's as simple for a Windows user, very simple, as using Windows Explorer. So I just want to show you a couple more things. Also for the log file, that would be in var log Row64 server. And here I can see my log file. Now I can use Notepad, surprisingly, notepad.exe, and I can put the name of that file. And then I've got my server log here in Notepad. So it's very surprising. If you're a person who uses Linux and Windows, it's very surprising. If you're a Windows user, it's just very easy. So you might ask yourself, well, how is this happening? Well, what is happening is, under the hood, you know your system environment variables, right? As a Windows user, you're probably familiar with this. So if you go edit these paths, these are the paths that are available to Linux. And so if I look at my system32 folder here, I'm going to find a lot of these executables like Explorer, Notepad. Here are a few others. If I type calc, this one's just fun, opening the Windows calculator. Or we're also big Vulkan users. Vulkan is a high-speed graphics API, and you can see the VK Cube from within Windows is opening up through Linux. So one last point, it's just kind of fun that you can, Linux is very powerful, for example, for searching files, for finding, for doing all kinds of things. You can use Windows features in Linux. So if you go to the mount folder here, you can see I've got my C open, right? Like if I do Explorer dot here, Explorer.exe dot, I've got my temp location here, and then I can list it in Windows. So you can pull Linux into Windows or Windows into Linux. It all kind of works, which is pretty fun.